Hello learners! Welcome to my Taglish Mathematics video tutorials. I am Maestra Celine and I will be discussing functions. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. At the end of the video lesson, you will be able to represent real-life situations using functions, including piecewise functions. Let's define relation and function. A relation is a set of ordered pairs, and ordered pairs is written as x, y. The set of all first entries of these pairs is called the domain of the relation, while the set of all second entries of these pairs is called the range of the relation. Meaning, our x values or our first entries is called the domain, and the y values or the second entries is called the range of the relation. Then what is a function? A function is a relation that assigns to each element of the domain exactly one element of the range. A function is a relation where each element in the domain is related to only one value in the range by some rule. A function is a set of ordered pairs such that no two ordered pairs have the same x value but different y values. So it is a function if there's no repetition of domain. Otherwise, pag may na-repeat ng domain, it is no longer a function. Now, let's have function represented by a set of ordered pairs. A set of ordered pairs represents a function if no two ordered pairs have the same first coordinate or domain. Sa madaling salita, kapag walang naulit na domain, it is a function. Pero kapag may naulit, it is no longer a function. So let's have example number 1. Determine whether each relation is a function or not. So dito sa mga relations, titignan lang natin ang mga first entries or our domain. So pag may naulit na domain, it is no longer a function. Pag walang naulit, it is a function. So let's have letter A, relation F. Let's check our domain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, walang na-repeat na domain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is a function. Letter B, relation G. Let's check all the domain. 3, 0, 0, 3. As you can see, na-repeat ang ating 3. And so with 0. So since may na-repeat, it is no longer a function. It is not a function. For letter C, our relation age, our domain are 1, 2, 3, 4, and next to 4 is 5, 6, and so on. So walang na-repeat na domain. So it is a function. Thus, the relations F and H are functions because no two ordered pairs have the same x value but different y value. Meanwhile, relation G is not a function because it contains ordered pair with the same abscissa or domain. So we have both 3 and both 0. Now, let's have function represented by a mapping diagram. A mapping diagram represents a function if the relation is one-to-one and many-to-one. If the relation is one-to-many, the mapping diagram does not represent a function. Sa madaling salita, kapag mapping diagram ang given, function siya kapag ang mga x values natin ay minsan or isang beses lang siya ma-pair sa y values, meaning one-to-one or many-to-one relation siya. Pero kapag twice or thrice or many times siya ma-pair sa mga y values, it is no longer a function, meaning one-to-many relation siya. So let's have example number 2. Which of the following mapping diagrams represents a function? So let's have relation F, the diagram F. Our x values are Bangkok, Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, Manila. And let's see the pairing of these x values sa ating y values. So yung Bangkok ay na-pair siya sa Thailand. Jakarta paired to Indonesia, Kuala Lumpur paired to Malaysia, and Manila paired to Philippines. So as you can see, yung bawat x values natin ay na-pair sa tig-isang value sa ating y values. So this relation is one-to-one. So since it is one-to-one, this relation or mapping diagram is a function. Let's have relation G. Our x values are 1, 2, 3, 4, and the y values are negative 2, 0, 2. So let's check the pairing of each x values. 1 is paired to 0. 2 is paired to negative 2. 3 is paired to positive 2. 4 is paired to negative 2. So as you can see, yung ating 1 at 4 ay na-pair sa negative 2. So many, 1 and 4, na-pair siya sa 1 value sa ating y. So this relation is many to 1. So since it is many to 1 relation, it represents a function. Let's have relation H, our last diagram. 5 is paired to 17. 3 is paired to 11. And again, 3 is paired to 15. So naulit yung ating x value na 3 na na-pair sa y value na 11 at 15. And this relation shows one to many. 1 dito sa x value, na-pair siya sa many values ng ating y, 11 and 15. And so with 1, yung 1 na-pair sa 13, at the same time na-pair din siya sa 17. So it shows one to many relation. So if the mapping diagram shows one to many relation, the mapping diagram does not represent a function. Thus, the relations F and G, our relation F and G, are functions because each value in y is unique for a specific value of x. And the relation H is not a function because there is at least one element in x for which there is more than one corresponding value of y. For example, yun nga, yung 3 natin dito, na-pair siya sa 11 at na-pair siya sa 15. And so with 1, it is paired with 13 and 17. Let's have function represented by a graph. So to determine whether a graph is a function or not, we will use the vertical line test. And what is vertical line test? A graph is said to be a function if and only if each vertical line intersects the graph at exactly one point. Sa madaling salita, pag nag-drawing tayo ng vertical line dun sa ating graph at yung vertical line na yun ay masagi niya lang yung graph at exactly one point, it is a function. Pero pag 2 or more points na yung kanyang masagi, it is no longer a function. Let's have example number 3. Determine which of the following graphs of relation represents a function. So we are going to use the vertical line test. We are going to draw a vertical line sa ating graph. At pag isang point lang ang kanyang masagi, it is a function. Kapag 2 or more, it is not a function. So let's have letter A. So let's say we will draw a vertical line here. Isang point lang yung kanyang masasagi. Pag nag-drawing ako ng vertical line naman dito sa kabila, again, isang point lang yung kanyang masasagi. So letter A is a function. For letter B, let's say we will draw a vertical line here. Isa lang din yung kanyang masasagi dito. Let's say ito lang. Kapag dito naman tayo sa kabila mag-drawing ng vertical line, again, isang point lang yung kanyang masasagi. So, letter B is a function. For letter C, if we are going to draw a vertical line here, dalawang point yung kanyang masasagi. Let's say 1, 2. Kapag dito naman tayo sa kabila, again 1, 2. So, dalawang point yung masasagi sa ating graph. So, since 2 points yung nasagi ng vertical line natin, it is not a function. So, letter C is not a function. For letter D, if we are going to draw a vertical line here, ilan ang masasagi niyang point? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Pag dito sa kabila, ganun din, 1, 2, 3, 4. Apat na points yung masasagi ng ating vertical line. So, it is not a function. Thus, graphs A and B are graphs of functions, while C and D are not because they do not pass the vertical line test, because it passes through 2 or more points. Now, let's have functions as representation of real-life situations. Functions can often be used to model real situations. Identifying an appropriate functional model will lead to a better understanding of various phenomena. Let's have example number 4. Give a function C that can represent the cost of buying X meals if 1 meal costs 50 pesos. So we are going to use C as the function. So since each meal costs 50 pesos, then the cost function is C of X equals 50X, or 50 times X, where C now is our function and X now is the number of meals that you are going to buy. So 50 times X. So yung cost ng per meal natin is 50 pesos times X, where X now is the number of meal. So let's say tatlo yung bibilhin nating meal at bawat meal ay 50 pesos. So 50 pesos times yung X natin, which is 3, is equal to 150 pesos. 150 pesos is the cost of the 3 meals. Thus, C of X is equal to 50x is the function that represent the cost of buying X meals. So let's have another example. 200 meters of fencing is available to enclose a rectangle area next to a river. So let's see the figure. So this is now the river and this is the 200-meter fencing. Give a function A that can represent the area that can be enclosed in terms of X and Y. So our function is A. So the area of the rectangle enclosure is A equals XY because the area of a rectangle, the formula is area of a rectangle equals length times width. Our X now is the length and our Y is the width. So we will write this as a function of X. Since only 200 meters of fencing is available, then X plus 2Y equals 200. So, isa lang yung X natin, kaya 1X lang siya or X, plus dalawa yung ating Y, so 2Y equals 200. Or, we write it as Y equals 200 minus X all over 2. So 200 divided by 2 is equal to 100. And negative 1x or x divided by 2 is negative 0.5x. Thus, area is equal to x times y. So our function now is a of x equals x times the quantity 100 minus 0.5x. So by the distributive property, x times 100 is equal to 100x. And x times negative 0.5x is equal to negative 0.5x squared. Thus, our function is a of x equals 100x minus 0.5x squared. What is piecewise function? A piecewise function or a compound function is a function defined by multiple sub-functions, where each sub-function is applied to a certain interval of the main function's domain. So, ang piecewise function composed of sub-functions, wherein each sub-function is applied to a certain interval of the main function's domain. Some situation can only be described by more than one formula, depending on the values of the independent variable. Let's have examples on piecewise function. Mr. Reyes is charged 499 Philippine peso monthly for a particular mobile plan which includes 100 free text messages. Messages in excess of 100 are charged 1 Philippine peso each. Represent the monthly cost for text messaging using the function T of M, where M is the number of messages sent in a month. So for the solution, the cost of text messaging can be expressed by the piecewise function. So our T of M here is the monthly cost for text messaging. It is now our function and it is equal to 499. If M now, where M is the number of messages sent in a month, is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 100. Another condition is in excess of 100. If M is greater than 100, the function is T of M equals 499 pesos plus M. So this is now our piecewise function representing the problem. For the last example, we have a jeepney ride costs 8 Philippine peso for the first 4 kilometers, and each additional integer kilometer adds 1.50 Philippine peso to the fare. Use a piecewise function to represent the jeepney fare in terms of the distance or D in kilometers. So for the solution, the input value is distance, and the output is the cost of the jeepney fare. If f of d represents the fare as function of distance, the function can be represented as follows. So our first function is f of d equals 8, where d is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 4. Another condition is the additional fare if it will exceed to 4 kilometers. So if d is greater than 4, the function is f of d equals 8 plus 1.5 d. So this is now the piecewise function representing the problem. Let's have additional examples for you to master the lesson. So for the direction, determine whether each relation is a function or not. So for numbers 1 to 3, it is a set of ordered pairs. So kapag ordered pair ang given, titignan lang natin ang mga first coordinate or domain. Kapag walang naulit na domain, it is a function. Pero kapag may naulit na domain, it is no longer a function. So let's have number 1. Tignan natin yung mga domain. So dito 1 yung domain. Dito sa pangalawang set, 1, 1, 2, 2. So as you can see, tatlong beses na ulit yung ating domain na 1. And then, dalawang 2 rin na domain. So since may naulit ng domain, it is no longer a function. So number 1, it is not a function. Number 2. Ang mga domain natin sa number 2 ay negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, and positive 1. So walang naulit na domain, so it is a function. Number 3. Yung ating mga domain ay 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so on. So as you can see, there is no repeated domain. So it is a function. For numbers 4 to 6, mapping diagram naman. So kapag mapping diagram ang given, function siya kapag ang mga x values natin ay minsan or isang beses lang siya mai-pair sa ating y values. Meaning to say, one-to-one or many-to-one relation siya. Pero kapag twice or thrice or many times siya ma-pair sa mga y values natin, it is no longer a function. Meaning, one-to-many relation siya. So let's have number 4. So let's check the x values kung may na-repeat na x values na repeat na na-pair sa ating y values. So yung 1, minsan lang siya nagamit, na-pair lang siya sa 3. Yung ating 2, na-pair lamang siya sa 7. Ngunit yung 3 na domain natin or yung value ng x natin na 3, dalawang beses siya nagamit. Na-pair siya sa 5 at na-pair siya sa 7. So since twice nang na-pair ang ating x value na 3, this mapping diagram is no longer a function. So it is not a function. It is one-to-many relation. Meaning ng one-to-many, 1 lang siya, na-pair siya sa many values ng ating y. Let's have number 5. Let us check all the pairing of our x values. Yung 3, na-pair lang siya sa 9. Yung 6, na-pair sa 36. Yung 9, na-pair sa 81. And yung ating 12, na-pair sa 144. So, bawat x values natin ay may isa lamang nakaparis sa ating y values. So, this is a one-to-one relation. So, since it is one-to-one relation, minsan lang magamit ang ating x values, it is a function. Number 6. 3 paired to 6. Yung 4 natin, twice siyang na-pair. Na-pair sa 6 at na-pair sa 8. Ganon din yung ating 5. 5 na-pair sa 7, 5 na-pair sa 9. So yung 4 at 5 ay dalawang beses na-pair sa ating y values. So it is not a function. Kasi twice na-pair yung ating x values sa y values. For numbers 7 to 10, kapag graph naman, it is a function kapag iisang point lang ang masasagi ng vertical line na idodrawing natin sa kahit saang banda ng graph. Pero kapag 2 or more points na ang masagi ng vertical line, it is no longer a function. So let's have number 7. So kapag nagdrawing tayo ng vertical line dito sa graph ng number 7, isa lang ang masasaging point. Let's say dito. Kapag dito naman tayo nagdrawing ng vertical line, isa lang din ang masasagi niyang point. Let's say dito lang yung masasagi niya. So number 7, since tig-isang point lang ang masasagi niya kapag nagdrawing tayo ng vertical line, it is a function. Number 8. So in number 8, pag magdrawing tayo dito ng vertical line, isang point lamang yung kanyang masasagi. Let's say, itong point na to ang kanyang masasagi. Kapag dito ako sa kabila nagdrawing ng vertical line, isang point ulit yung kanyang masasagi. Let's say dito. So number 8, since isa lang yung point na masasagi niya, it is a function. Number 9. Let's say I will draw a vertical line dito. Dalawang point yung kanyang masasagi. Isa, dalawa. Kapag dito sa kabilang side, ayan. So, isa, dalawa. So, dalawang points yung masasagi ng vertical line sa number 9. So, since 2 points na siya, it is no longer a function. So, number 9, not function. Number 10. Let's say we will draw a vertical line here. Ayan, isang point lang yung kanyang masasagi. Another one, isa lang din. So number 10 is a function.